Chavez used to say to me, here the burguesy tried to hide out Bolivar in a thousand of ways. They tried to hide him, tried to silence his thought in many ways, and the most evil of those ways was that in the second half of the 19th century, the burguesy empowered made that decision to cover Venezuela of Bolivar's statues in each city, in each town, in each village, in each municipality. They created a Bolivar Square, and in that Bolivar Square they just put a Bolivar statue. That extra exhibition of Bolivar was the best way, the most subtle and perverse way of petrifying his thoughts, of banalizing the figure of Bolivar. The exceptionality of Bolivar was completely mere, was completely plain, and so they just alienate Bolivar from the people. Chavez used to tell me that in his birth town in Chavaleta, when there was a Bolivar statue, the people didn't have the right to enter to that square if they weren't well dressed up. And what is well dressed up? They couldn't have the arms naked, and they couldn't be barefoot. And to him, once he was just riding a bike to the square with the short pants and a t-shirt, the police held him. The police held him, and that was the first time he was detained when he was a child, and his father had to seek him. That was the example that Chavez was giving. Look what a sophisticated way they just alienated Bolivar from the people. And Chavez used to say in our people of Chavaleta, there in the plains, half a century ago, the popular people met around a tree and said every July 24th here, Bolivar rested, and people used to worship on that tree because Bolivar went by there, and that was the popular aspect of Bolivar. But the burguesy alienated the people and didn't want that the people knew the thought of Bolivar. So when Chavez woke up Bolivar and just enlightened the thought of Bolivar, he proved that the thought of Bolivar was an anti-colonialist thought, an anti-slavist thought, and anti-bias thought. That was what Chavez rescued from Bolivar. What President Maduro continues to do, continues to make Bolivarianism every day. So I think that if we are passionate about this revolution, it's precisely because of the modernity, because of the youth, let's say, the state of the modern thought of Bolivar. In a world in which genocide is being committed in Gaza, in this world that a prison, which is a concentration camp in El Salvador, in the Secot, they can just arrest, they can just imprison 252 innocent people, and so Bolivar is more necessary than ever today. Thank you.